Well, hello again. Alright, back to some modernish, currentish footage. So we left off in this area, digging the French drain, digging the trench for the French drain, and getting that laid and building a rock burrito to store the or to help the water drain. And you can see we've got a good chunk of the drain filled in and covered up, and so it's back to work trying to finish that. You can see there's around the fire pit there's some reasonable progress made with the rock fire pit itself. And then there's just a little bit left to do with the rock burrito. Although I do have to say, being able to pull up perpendicular and being able to just use the bucket to drop the rock is far superior to trying to shovel it out of the bucket. But anyway, the little vent tubes, they didn't end up staying. We built some fires, and I actually couldn't see any difference. I tried pulling them out and putting them back, and I couldn't tell any difference in the performance of the fire, so we ended up getting rid of those. We will be making some progress of some sort for probably the what in the picture is the kind of the right side, basically where the log is. I think I'm going to build a little platform that can serve as like a grilling spot, so we can have the coals up off the ground a little higher. Be able to put Dutch ovens there, be able to hang the grilling tripod or smoking tripod, whatever you want to call that. I don't know. It's still a work in progress at this point, but we've had a couple of good rainstorms, and we have only had one little spot that started to pool, and that's just because it was just a little bit lower than the rest. But we've actually got a good chunk of gravel at this point spread around, so that we can walk around without being in the mud all the time. But one of the most important tasks for me at this point is trying to backblade and level this as much as possible. I'm not gonna really be able to bring the box blade back out here, so we ended up just using the bucket on float, and then used some rakes to just kind of get things to where they need to actually be. We're not completely concerned with it being perfectly smooth or flat at this point, because we do plan on bringing some compost, and we'll probably mix some of the topsoil from the house site where I'm digging that topsoil out. We'll probably mix that with some compost at like maybe a 1-to-1 ratio, so we get some good rich soil for the grasses, and we'll throw some fresh grass seed down again. But at the moment I'm just dropping a bunch of the 2-inch river rock at the end of the French drain, so that there's a spot where it'll always be able to just work its way down to the ditch that's on the other side of the shrubs there. and Emily was trying to move things and smooth things a bit. I let her know that's a much easier task for the backhoe than a shovel. Much faster that way. So at this point, it's just, it was kind of exciting, like being able to have this a functional space again. I mean, the truth be told, it's been about 2 years since we were able to actually use this space, because once I started working on it, the water problem through the winter just became too much of an issue, and I didn't get everything finished to the point where we could actually build the fire pit last year, which was good, because anything I built last year would have been just destroyed trying to fix the water problems this year. But with this French drain in place, I'm fairly confident that that we'll actually be able to keep this as a usable space all winter long. We do also plan to at some point build some form of pergola over the fire pit, but that's kind of still up in the air. We don't have any actual set plans yet. But right now I'm just, like I mentioned, just working with the bucket on float to try and smooth things out. And I mean, it does a pretty good job. And then we came back and there's a few little bumps that we wanted to smooth out. We had to go find the rakes though. But this is actually about it for the footage today. I got the neighbors called and actually wanted to invite us over for dinner, so we went and headed over there for the evening. But I grab the camera and I'll do a little bit of a walk around before we end here. And I mean, you can see just from the sunlight and the shade, and it's just a really nice, pleasant spot to hang out. So we have thoroughly enjoyed using this over the last couple months as I continue to develop it, and we've had some friends and family over several times. So it's been pretty awesome to be able to start hosting again. All right. So today got cut a little early. Neighbors ended up inviting us over for some pulled pork, so you can't say no to that. But we're pretty much done with this now. We've got the weeping tile all the way out to here. And then there's a big collection of rock to help let things dissipate. I do need to, I want to just scrape that a little bit better to smooth that out. And then I want to leave a little bit of a depression right where the weeping tile goes so that it'll help bring the water down to that. Other than that, we need to do just a little tiny bit more smoothing. Got the rock wall, or the rocks mostly done for the fire pit. It's a little bit bigger than it should be, but I do plan on actually bringing it in, and then the barrel obviously won't be there. But I will actually be covering these rocks in sand to help with the dissipation of the heat, which will hopefully help keep the rocks from cracking. And then I will actually, to further help with that, I will actually be putting a layer of fire brick on the inside. I'm not entirely sure that these vents are going to do any good because the fire pit is actually bigger than it needs to be. The airflow is not necessarily going to be a challenge, so I probably will just pull them out. I don't know. We'll see. We'll think about it further. But yeah, so that's in place, which is super exciting because now we can really get some compost and some final grading and leveling out here. We made sure I built this up a little bit over here, built this up over here where the water was pooling a little bit this past winter. I'm gonna dig a little bit of a swale here because I do know that the water is going to come down from both sides here and come across by this crabapple, and then we'll reseed and do some little bit of finished touch work with a rake and go from there. But yeah, we'll get another load of rock and we'll get this built out with some gravel. Eventually this will have a concrete pad here. We might dump some gravel down here just in case, but I'm inclined not to because I don't want to disturb our salmonberry, which is doing extremely well, and we'll definitely have some amazing shoots for next year. So like this cane here is brand new this year. This whole plant here is brand new. Oh look, huzzah! I can actually show you what salmonberry is for those who don't know. It's like, flavor wise, it's almost like a cross between a apricot and a raspberry, kind of. It's a very mellow flavor. Yep, there's one more here. It never actually turns red. This salmon color is about as red as it's going to get, which is where it gets its name, clearly. It's a thornless raspberry. Oh, that one's actually not ripe. Okay. Well, huzzah! What a score. Delicious. So, yeah, we definitely like that this salmonberry is here. So we're going to try and cultivate this further. But yeah, we'll get some grass seed down here, and since we now have running water here, we can actually water the grass out here to help make sure that it gets germinates. And Emily actually sorry, I just heard a deer through there. They like investigating my freshly tilled areas. Emily just mentioned that she wants a tetherball set. So we're actually going to be setting up a tetherball up here for this fall. Charlie was trying to find that deer. We'll get some more log benches. I'll have a few more rocks over here that I can bring over to finish building this up, but we'll put a couple of rock benches around here, or log benches, and we'll build them up onto the rocks so they can stay out of the grass, out of the mud. This will definitely be a fun place to hang out this winter if we can get the grass established. so it's not muddy. Anyway, that's where we got to for today, and then before we headed over to the neighbors. So tomorrow I will actually get back to the house site, which, for the record, that dead maple there is where the septic system will be, and the house will go to right about there. And so far, so there's a little walkway here. You go up here and you can see this. There's a fallen tree right there. That's just underneath where the area that I'm working is. So, just for the record, by the time we're actually going to set our truck tent up there this fall when my brother comes and visits, so we'll have a clear walkway to get from there to here. But that way they can spend the nights that they're here where their house is actually going to go. So, peace out. That's where we're at for tonight.